Passive House Show, where we explore everything passive, this amazing technology that will be the future of home building, that'll be the standard. My name is Mikhail Laxton, and I'm joined with the man, the myth, the legend, Paul Keeley. I want to talk to you about, real quickly, we're in Ottawa. We're in Dunrobin, just, what is it, south?
We are northwest of Ottawa.
I get it wrong every time.
Almost on the outskirts. Yeah, right up in the north. Ottawa River, where the Ottawa River meets the Mississippi on the way to Arnprior. And it's rural, but we're in a community and a great spot for a passive home, anywhere you got sun. It's the place to do it.
I wanted to talk about, we got some forest fires happening right now. It is June 6th, and some wildfires have been raging on the Quebec side, pushing the smoke down over to Ontario. So we're experiencing a lot of smog and a lot of smoke over here. And it led me to think about this episode and talking about indoor air quality. I was listening to the radio this morning, and they had an expert. She was talking about the wildfires that raged through Yellowknife back in 2016. And she said one of the things you can do, one of the tips you can do, is go out and buy an air filter for your home. Stay indoors. And if your house is a type of house that still lets in a fair bit of smoke, you can smell it in there. It's affecting your throat and your nose and your whatever. You can go out and buy an air filter. Now, I was driving on the way here, and I was like, I wonder how it's going to feel inside Paul's house. And I can't smell the smoke anymore. I stepped outside, could smell it. In my house, I woke up this morning, I could smell it, even though I'd been sniffing it all night during my sleep. I woke up and I noticed the smell in the house. And I come in here and I can't smell anything. Tell me about this. Tell me about why this is.
It's cool. And I say that because it's not something that we typically talk about, right? Is contaminants outside and how much a building actually protects against that, which we experiencing this morning. Like, it looked like there was massive fog outside, mm-hmm. right? And you go out and you smell the forest fire, which is, I think, over 100 kilometers from here. Mm-hmm. So it's
not that far, really.
Not that far, really. Yeah, the air carries it quick, and it does feel like you're in the middle of a large bonfire outside. You know what I mean? No sign of flames. It's far enough away, but the smoke is dominant in the exterior today. And really with the ERV, with the fresh air system, I mean, we're always talking about how you can monitor the carbon dioxide levels and really create a highly oxygenated environment on the inside, and play with the different fan settings that come with the machine, and also use it for humidity management, whether you want a lower humidity on the inside of the home, which you'd predominantly want during the summer months, or a higher humidity in the wintertime. And, that's the main focus, but huge benefits we're knowing today, just in very poor air quality, exterior air quality, as a result of forest fire. And it goes to show the high performance filter, ultimately, that's part of the high performance machine. So able to filter out that air that comes with a high degree of smell, and there's obviously a high degree of particulate in the air because of that. And another reason to go passive. So, a house that truly is protecting not only itself, but everything inside of it. Yeah. Okay. So, and it also has indirectly, like with respect to the air, with respect to the air and the smell coming inside the home is one of the characteristics of the airtight construction that a passive home is well known for, also is a contributing factor to the performance of the building and
the lack of
forest
smoke,
fire. Lack of smoke
coming in,
lack of scent coming in, lack of particulates being able to penetrate the building envelope, that would otherwise be a characteristic of allowing contaminants inside the home in most houses that are heated by forced air systems, because forced air systems have air intake ducts that come in to the building, low to the ground. In not airtight is going to allow the air movement ultimately through that building envelope that is not protected by a filter. So, a lot of times people ask us, well, what's the point of building a passive home and having an air exchanger when most homes just naturally breathe through the building assembly, right?
Yeah.
And this is really a characteristic of houses built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, when technologies weren't available to build homes tighter and fresh air systems simply weren't developed yet. And, in a passive home, the ultimate, the proof is behind the concept is it's much better to be in a house that has an airtight building envelope and lets all of the natural air leakage, air exchange happen through a single machine. So 2 pipes through the wall, one for the incoming air and one for the outgoing stale air, is where all the air exchange happens. It should not be happening in the envelope of the home, because that's where the air is not serving you well. There's no heat recovery in it, and it's just simply providing for a pathway of contaminants to come into the building. So again, like we say, go passive, not just from an energy efficiency perspective, but as we're experiencing here today, from a healthy air perspective. Simple, reason to go passive for that reason alone.
So for any people out there that are planning on building a passive house or pretty close to pulling the trigger, like what are some of the systems that you guys put into the houses?
So to ensure the air quality, all that we have in the fresh air machine now is the standard filter provided by Jablotron.
Jablotron. Okay.
Yeah. So it is a Jablotron Futura machine. There is another very popular fresh air system in the passive world called Zender. But Zender has potential to conflict with some local building codes. We actually can't use the Zender machine in Ontario anymore. We could use it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because the conventional codes are ultimately designed for the conventional fresh air systems, which require a regeneration cycle, a defrost cycle to be built into the machine, because the conventional machines just simply aren't frost protected. You get the benefit using a passive grade fresh air system because it is frost protected. But that aside, the Jablotron Futura, it's just their standard filter that we're using.
And it's badass.
So it's crazy. Yeah, it is.
Is it the
really is bad,
Is that the charcoal filter?
It's not the charcoal filter, no. So
you don't need that one?
Not in this environment, so that's one thing that we did learn, right, from the Jablotron people, that they do have a charcoal filter option. So in in areas like you just mentioned, Yellowknife, was it Yellowknife? So Yukon, and that in those environments, Western Canada, California, where they would experiencing fires that are a lot crazier than we're experiencing today, that would be a filter that would need to be used, I think, in most situations during the forest fire season out west. And it is an option that Jablotron provides for those extreme conditions.
Yeah, it's funny. I woke up this morning and I noticed, like, as soon as I opened my eyes, I noticed that there was like almost yellow light coming into the house, and I was like, "That's not the morning sun." And I opened the window and I was like, "Holy moly, it's like so much smoke." And it reminded me of my visit back in 2019 to San Francisco. I flew down there and I walked out of the airport and my buddy was waiting for me, and I said, "Jake, what's up with the sky?" I was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "The sky." And he's like, I was like, is that city smog?" And he's like, Nah, man, it's San Francisco. It's forest fires all the time. And I was like, holy hell, you guys live in this like a lot of the he's like, yeah, there's it, like, I mean, he's like, it's not 100% of the time, but for a lot of the time, especially in the hotter, the summertime and whatever, like we're experiencing a lot of, California experiences the craziest wildfires and yeah, it makes me feel for them just being in this. Like it's been like this for 2 days and I don't like it. I'm like, I'm
No,
done. I want this to be done already. So yeah, it's really interesting just like seeing how, I mean, people chalk like people. I mean, I'm sure global warming has a lot to do with it, but I remember if anybody recalls in 2020, Australia was experiencing some of the worst, like the worst wildfires ever down in the Grampians, and where I'm from, it's even more scrub than not even more, but like arguably, we've got a lot of scrub there too. One of the biggest. I mean, it's a little bit more humid and tropical and whatever, but up in the hills, we should be experiencing fires up there all the time. It's dry, it's bone dry, but there's a lot of scrub. There's a lot of bush, and we just don't have wildfires. And
that's why.
people,
Is it the types of trees you think? Like
no,
eucalyptus
no.
trees is that part of the
I mean, they're pretty resilient, but
hmm,
I'll tell you why. It's because we practice up there traditional indigenous burning methods to
okay.
maintain the land. That's why we never have bushfires. We always do.
Like you're always clearing the land
We're
to
always
prevent.
cool burning to prevent. So
Okay.
cool burning is at the beginning of spring, right at the beginning of spring, when everything's just starting to go a little bit green. We don't burn when everything's dry. We burn when everything's green, and
Huh.
you end up having these fires that we burn in a certain pattern, and we make these fires that, for one, we don't encircle an area and burn inwards, because then all the animals have got nowhere to go.
Hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
We start from these little patches and we follow the wind patterns, we follow where the land is going, and we burn away so that everything gets a chance to run away. That's how we keep our food source back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the fire never gets above your knee height. That's a method we call cool burning. And they started sending a team of like indigenous folks from Australia, my people, the Aboriginal people. They started sending some of these experts that have been doing traditional burning for years and years and years over to California to start teaching them indigenous land management ways. And even firefighters, even firefighting teams over in Australia that burn off during the summertime are now learning that that is so backwards and wrong, because what happens is the way they burn to manage a forest is they burn from the outside in. So all the koalas, all the kangaroos, all the snakes, all the wildlife that help make that place a good place,
Mm-hmm.
they kill them. They kill them all. And the fire, and because you burn inwards, it's just gathering up all. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and you end up having these fires that are reaching the top of the canopy, killing everything. And then you go in, and when the rain season comes, you get these crazy floods in those areas. Why is that? It's because you've burnt the earth to a bloody crust. It should be soft, good earth that's able to regenerate after you burn it. But they burn so hot and so fierce that it's scorched to like 1 feet, 2 feet down. Nothing can grow there anymore. So they're deserts. They completely ruin these ecosystems with these horrible burning methods. And we're having to go in. Some of our people are having to go in and rehabilitate these places, replanting stuff, and trying to figure out how to get the place back to a forest again, but so we can manage it properly, do cool burning efforts. And I think that's something that really needs to be done around here too, is adopting indigenous land management opportunities, because it's sustainable. Talk about sustainability.
Yeah.
Our people, indigenous people here in Canada, are very, very, we operated sustainably. For example, like when we hunted, even back in Australia, when we hunt a certain area, then we leave it for 6 months, at 12 months, so that the animals can repopulate. It's just like they do with fishing, right? You can't fish
Yeah.
this lake for a year or two. They fill it up. They let the population, you know,
Yeah.
build up and get bigger and whatever else, and then you come back. It's sustainable. You don't keep going back and fishing it and hunting it every day, 365, no break. You know, like every year. You give it a break, you give the land a break, you give the animals a break. And yeah, yeah. You know, as like just to go on a bit more of a tangent, um, like myself as an Indigenous person, like I find it interesting that you know, like a lot of I've been involved with EcoBuilt for what, nearly 2 years now, coming up on 2.5 years probably, and this speaks to me on much more of a deeper level than just like, oh, you know, we got to save the environment. It's like, no, this is coming back to like ancient practices. You know what I mean? Like this technology has been around for a really, really, really long time, but no one made it a standard until what, the 90s or the 70s or whatever it was. And you know, we've been fine tuning it ever since. So yeah, I think anybody that enjoys hunting, you know, it seems backwards to me that there's a lot of people that are out in the country. They love living on the land. They love living from the land, but they don't want to get off gas. They want to drive big ass trucks all the time. Sometimes not even out of necessity. You know, and you know, like to me, it just baffles me. These people that that live off the land, that want to live off the land, that want to be in the bush, that camp. They love hunting. They love all these things, but the rest of their living isn't really sustainable. You know what I mean? And to me, yeah, as like just as a human being on planet Earth, but also as an Indigenous person, I'm like, let's go electric. You know, I mean, there's some issues there with electric cars and lithium and all that stuff, but we got to figure something out. You know, we got to figure something out to be a lot more sustainable. And I'm glad to be a part of a company that's making an effort to do that in the building sector with the homes. You know, I think it's
Awesome.
very important.
Yeah, no, it reminds me of the definition of sustainability, right? Or the principle of sustainability, and which is all about protecting the needs of today's generation, but not harming future generations, right? And that's and sustainability sometimes, is thought of as a wishy-washy word, right? I mean, what is sustainable? Is sustainability really possible? And um, listening to that background, that history is proof that, and there's so many examples of the proof, but proof that the world was sustainable, pre-industrial revolution, 70, 80 years ago, before oil was really used at a large scale, the world was entirely sustainable. So it's not like we are doing anything different.
They
We're
really
just getting
utilized
back.
electricity when it came in. Like it's such a beautiful thing.
I tell people all the time, that oil, I mean, it's important that, we got to talk about resources and protecting our resources, and oil as as a green person, as a sustainable person, obviously, then, oil, we have all the technologies not to use oil or to
That's right.
transition off of oil. So I don't like oil, obviously, and but oil, I love what oil has done for the world. Like you think of oil ultimately took the world from potentially uncomfortable place to comfortable place with all these great modern technologies like that we enjoy today. But the whole point is there's alternatives, so let's use those alternatives. And let's keep the oil in the ground so it's around forever, and about sustainability and this talk about forest fires and sustainable land management, wildlife management. I mean, really, we're just talking about survival, right? And survival is the real word, like that could be used instead of sustainability, right? All we're doing is trying to find a way to survive, and you listen to all the green talks, and a lot of the lingo is around, save the planet, save the world. Well, truthfully and honestly, our planet will survive regardless of what happens to it or what is the result of climate change, right? The worst case scenario, everything dies, including us, right? This world, the planet will still be around.
Yeah.
You know, it'll regenerate itself.
Probably,
And naturally, it might take millions of years and everyone might die in the process, but it will still be around. And that is why solving climate change, transitioning to a sustainable economy is so important, and following that rule of sustainability, not harming future generations. You know, we got all the systems, we got all the know-how, we got all of the technology to make it happen, and we just got to stay focused on survival.
I think,
and then the world will become a better place.
I think, the talk around global warming and climate change is really, it terrifies people, and it should. We are in trouble, but we're not completely doomed, because technology exists right now for us to save this place, to save ourselves, really. So let's just get to it.
Let's get to it.
Let's
Yeah.
get to it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. And protecting our world, right? And protecting resources, right? If our resources are gone, and we're gone. And what's the greatest natural resource we have is trees. And provide all the oxygen for the world, and filter the air, and it's it's something that we need to stay focused on, for sure. That's a cool story.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, back to passive house air quality, indoor air quality. What other steps can homeowners take to further improve indoor air quality in their passive home?
It makes me think about the just air quality in the house in general, and has to do with, I mean, ultimately, not just passive home being airtight, but any other home. So cooking food creates odors, creates potential toxins in the air, right? So having a way to filter that from the inside. The more people that are in the house, the more carbon dioxide is in the house. Pets as well, carbon dioxide from pets, and people that have cats, there's litter boxes that are contained inside the home. A lot of ammonia, a lot of potential contribution to poor indoor air quality, right? And the moisture, showers, laundry, different odors, like, a number of anything inside the home, furniture, furniture is often overlooked. A huge, part of a sick building is, it could be off-gassing from furniture alone. Formaldehyde, it's very easy for us to stay focused on a zero formaldehyde cabinet material or furniture material, in terms of vanities and anything that goes in the kitchen, built-ins. But chairs, couches, furniture, a lot of potential formaldehyde off-gassing, depending on where that stuff is coming from. So, be cognizant if upon purchase that it's a sustainable furniture source. And so the machine really works. It works both sides. Prevents the toxins from coming in the home, regardless of the exterior environment, what's happening, and gets rid of all the toxins that could potentially develop in the house. So we can build a house that is entirely renewable resource based, healthy material in the envelope of the home, right? In the roof, in the walls, and in the floor. But everything you put inside the home could instantly make the house unhealthy. And this is possibly the greatest part of the health benefit of the home is the fresh air machine, simply for its high-powered exhaustibility and able to maintain highly oxygenated environment, reduce the carbon dioxide level, and any harmful toxins on the inside.
You know, I don't know if you're able to escape this, but like cabinetry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like cabinetry is full of really highly toxic glues.
Oh, can be very harmful.
And that goes into our kitchen cabinets. So how do we what's a way to avoid that?
Yeah, so even the like we talk about the LEED standard often. For those that aren't familiar, LEED, LEED, Leadership for Environmental and Energy Design. Okay, so we we love this this construction model because it has a great focus on green materials. And the best green materials levels that go into the house, and you get some, ultimately it's a points-based rating system. But even cabinetry material in the LEED system, you're able to have a little amount of formaldehyde. So in order to be in a LEED house, the formaldehyde content in cabinetry, I believe, has to be less than 0.08 parts per million. So, your standard boards, though, that is in any generic cabinet is well above that, right? And so, we try and provide a board that, if we're providing a kitchen, we provide a soy-based board. Okay, so it's actual cabinet material that has zero formaldehyde in it. So it's the best stuff to use. It's just
a lot of people out there wouldn't know that. I didn't know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, wouldn't know it's an option. It is an option, but I would say 90%, 99% possibly of the cabinet shops that exist don't provide it as an option because it is a special order material.
Is it gluten-free?
Gluten-free.
Is it coming
gluten-free? It's vegan. It's everything. Yeah, all the above.
What about paints?
Paints, on that same note, there is actually a paint on these walls in our demonstration home.
You got
that
a bucket, right?
I refer to as a vegan paint.
Let's show this.
Here it is.
Durasoy. I don't know if you can see that. Durasoy 1 by Eco Pro Coat.
Eco Pro Coat's company out of the United States, Arizona. But you look at the ingredients in this paint, and it truly is a vegan paint, all vegetable oil based, and it's a single product primer paint in one, and very simple to use, and it will last a very long time.
There you have it. Vegan paint, people. Like we said before, like the technology exists now to be as sustainable as you want to be, almost. What is it? Soy-based glues, I guess, or soy-based
glues. Yeah. The glue. So the cabinet, the board itself is an engineered wood product, meaning it's ultimately a chip board. It's a melamine, and so all recycled wood material, but manufactured in the sense that it really needs to be, to prevent any warping or twisting that used to happen with old solid cabinetry material. The alternative is plywood, of course, but plywood has a lot of glue in it as well, and really just modern proven soy-based glues that have been proven to stand the test of time. So they're good, they're available, they're ready to use, not much more expensive at all. They're just a special order material. So if a cabinetry place is going to offer the material, they have to order in bulk quantities. The cabinet shop that we deal with is doing that for us, and important to know that there is ultra healthy alternate options available for cabinets.
Is that Pat Kennedy?
Pat Kennedy, that's correct. Yeah,
the legend.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. Like, I think the best thing about this podcast that fires me up every week when we come and do an episode is just learning about the technology that is there, that exists right now, the products. There's, for that, for sustainability and conscientiousness when it comes to sustainability and green living, just knowing that there's companies out there that are providing options to people worldwide is just such an exciting thing to know. You know, it's, yeah, again, we do need to move our butts and get it into gear. But for the most part, just like with Passive House, people just don't know about it. And the aim of this podcast is to build awareness on this. So I think that'll do us for this podcast. What do you reckon? Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
It was good. You know, it was a good dive into sustainability and survival, and it's what it's all about. And, you know, again, the home it's the investment of everyone's life. It's protects your health. It protects your financial situation, and you know, that protects your family, and it ultimately, if built the right way, will protect the world we live in and allow the world to evolve into a real sustainable place from a building perspective. So we're happy to spread the word, and anyone can do it. Anyone can do it affordably. And that's what this podcast is all about. Yeah, education and awareness.
Well, thanks for listening, and thanks for watching, everybody. This has been the Passive House Show podcast. And yeah.
Have a good day, guys. Stay safe and live the dream. Build your passive today.